Hello, everyone. Welcome. We welcome you to join our Northwestern community. I'm Dr. Hui Zhang, and my pronouns is she, hers. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, and I serve as one of the staff at the Northwestern Counseling and Psychological Services. I work primarily on the Evanston campus, and I serve as the mental health liaison for the international students. I once was an international student myself from mainland China, and this is both a personal and professional passion for me to commit to advance the mental health wellness for our international students.
And hi, my name is Angel Chang, and my pronouns are she, her. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist on the Chicago campus, serving the graduate and professional students on the Chicago campus programs. And I also have an international student background, long time ago, originally from Taiwan. As you begin this adventure for personal and professional growth, we really hope to take this opportunity to center your attention around mental health and wellness. Collectively, we've all experienced a very difficult year, and you've navigated a number of challenges and changes amid a great deal of uncertainty. So now let's all take a moment just to reflect on the obstacles and challenges you've overcome to get to this point. If you're playing this on your device, you may choose to pause the video now and reflect on the challenges and obstacles you've overcome, and hit play to come back once you're ready.
We want to acknowledge that to get to where you are today, you've demonstrated tremendous resilience, adaptability, determination, and grit. What's also true is that your Northwestern experience would benefit from all those strengths you've cultivated in the past years. From both our personal experiences and working with many international students, we want to share this heartfelt message. Prioritizing your wellness as you navigate all the life's ups and downs will be the key to your success. Our hope in creating this orientation video is to center your attentions around mental health and wellness at the beginning of your exciting journey here. We hope to share some strategies that we found critical for your success. And lastly, we want to give you an overview around the mental health resources we have both on campus and around the Evanston community and Chicago community. We really hope that this video is just the start of many reflections, realizations, and conversations that you will have during your time here to think about what you want and what you need to thrive.
We really believe that wellness and mental health is a lifelong process and a community endeavor. Even though you're likely watching this in front of your screen, please note that you're with a cohort of hundreds of other international students from all over the world, starting this journey together. For many international folks, connection and community support with others are one key element for overcoming challenges and achieving your goals. So please also note that members of the Northwestern community, your fellow domestic students, faculty, and staff are all resources to providing you with a meaningful experience to thrive. We are in this together.
Let's take a breath and let's begin. We would like to introduce this model that talk about 8 different dimensions of wellness. This framework really helped to highlight that in order to achieve wellness, there are many aspects that are important to nurture. It really helped to give a framework to guide our effort. As you can see, we are multifaceted human beings that have many needs across different areas in order to thrive. And they are all connected. What this could mean is that in order to have a thriving learning experience, which means your occupational and intellectual wellness, we also need to maintain our emotional wellness. which is supported by and in support of our physical health, social connectedness, financial stability, spiritual growth, and around a pleasant environment.
Yeah, and we all might have learned to place certain emphasis on selected aspect of wellness because of our own values or family upbringing or cultural influences. And our focus may also shift in different stages in our lives as well. So take a moment to reflect on which dimensions you've been focusing on or come more naturally to you. And think about what are some dimensions that feel more like a struggle or maybe less relevant for you at this moment.
As you continue to embark on your journey in Northwestern, sometimes you may find that you're encouraged to sacrifice the rest of the wellness domain to achieve financial and career success. We urge you to embrace and the intention to embrace all parts of yourself that have various needs. A lot of longitudinal wellness research have found that this embrace will lead to longer-term satisfaction and success. If you're interested in learning more about how to apply this model to your day-to-day life, stay tuned for the Coffee Talk program that we'll discuss later. Given our background as psychologists and our role in CAPS, we're going to focus on talking about emotional wellness in our conversation today. We'd like to introduce this continuum of mental health to emphasize that mental health and mental wellness is not only the absence of illness. Just like our physical health, our mental health could range from thriving to struggling in any given point of our lives. It requires our routine care to stay well, and sometimes we could get sick even if we are doing everything we can to manage. All of us also move along this health continuum depending on the life stressors and challenges we'll be facing in a particular moment in our lives, as well as available internal or external resources we may have at that time. We want to emphasize that no matter what you're experiencing and where you are on this continuum, there are ways to take actions to support yourself and those around you.
So going off what Qianhui was sharing, the mental health continuum, now let's all take a brief moment to think about what messages you might have received about mental health. Think about how much of those messages might be positive, affirming, and how much of those can be negative or stigmatizing. Well, we acknowledge that different cultures might understand and treat mental health concerns differently from the Western medical model. We also have found that across different cultures, there are some common stigma that people have experienced about mental health. Some of these might include mental illness is a sign of weakness, or it's something to be ashamed about. Or there might be some stereotype associated with someone who's struggling with mental health concerns. Other messages or myth about mental health might be, it's something that if we don't pay attention to it, if we neglect it, it will just get better on its own. Or, that just telling ourselves that we don't need external support, we just need to push through. Okay, and these stigma, these messages can become harmful because these might lead to people feeling much more isolated, struggle on their own further, and not being able to access resources that can help support themselves or other people.
We'd like to talk about some strategies that you may start thinking about around breaking down stigmas around mental health. The most recent data have shown that 1 in 4 individuals struggle with depression and anxiety in one point of their lives. This means that just like physical health, mental health is something relevant to us. When we are struggling, it's important to remember and tell ourselves that it's valid and you are not to blame. Just like physical health, preventative strategies is helpful to maintain health. And if you're struggling, it's really important to reach out for support, both from your social network and seek professional help early. When your body and your mind says no, it's important to look at it not as a sign of weakness, but as a sign to slow down and reflect what is working and what is not working so you can make adjustment. It's important to show compassion and support for yourself and for those around you that may be struggling. It's also very helpful to break the silence by talking openly about mental health and wellness. Choose empowerment over shame.
We hope this is just the start of many conversations that you will have here at Northwestern to break down the stigma around mental health. Next up, let's look at some common experiences that might lead students to come to CAPS. Students come to CAPS wanting to address a wide range of concerns, ranging from stress and anxiety to depression, relationships, grief, trauma, and wanting to explore identity or other cultural considerations. And specifically to our international student communication, international student population, there might be certain particular challenges there. For example, there might be visa status constraint, or options that are more limited related to careers or travels that might make international students wanting to reach out for more support. And another point is international students being further away from their familiar home culture and support network might lead to folks needing more additional support and connection. A common thing that we see is some students may be fearful of worrying their family back home. So they thought they could only share good news and not sharing their worries or their vulnerabilities. Other pieces might be adjusting to different culture, not just the US culture, but also different cultures of teaching styles, managerial styles, or lab culture. If you're working with different labs, it can take time to adjust or understand and learn the different ways of working with your peers and your faculty. And then also really importantly is, as international student, well, that's one of your identities. You might also hold other identities like different sexual orientation, gender identity, race, ethnicity, ability and disability, so forth and so on. So it can create, these like different intersecting identity can lead to different type of stressors, and as well as experiences different type of discrimination or microaggression.
We want to remind you that everyone struggles at some point, even though you may sometimes feel like you're the only one struggling, which is what we hear a lot from students. You may struggle at the beginning or at some point after the initial excitement period. We just know that it's really emotionally taxing in the process, to try to figure out how to do things in a completely new context, especially maybe when your family or friends back home may not know how to best support you. Because, just because of cultural differences, they may want to and they may not know how. It's really important to be patient with yourself, to validate some of those difficulties and remind yourself that you're doing something quite hard, and learn to build local support and connections when you can. We also see that sometimes students start to doubt themselves amid all this adjustment process. And we've been there as well, Andrew and I. It's important to remember that your strengths as international students the adaptability, the curiosity, all this cross-cultural competency that you're cultivating, even though it's difficult. It's important to remember that you belong here. We also find that only focusing on your academics may not be the best idea. You need to remember that this is a marathon, and meeting your needs as a whole integrated person is very important for it to be sustainable. Things could get overwhelming and you may freeze up sometimes. This could look like procrastination or losing motivation or decreased productivity. When you start noticing this, do not avoid. Reach out for support to your faculty, peers, or CAPS early. As you may remember, we talk about the continuum of mental health, and we would like to share some strategies around preventative effort that you could be doing to maintain your mental wellness in the midst of a really strenuous studying experience. And we categorize them into 4 different pillars. And maybe take a time as we're going through this to think about where you are at in some of these different areas and what adjustment you may be able to make to kind of build them into your day-to-day routine. First of all, we find that it's really important and helpful to have some moment of stillness where you could find ways to reconnect with yourself in a world that could be quite busy and distracting. And this could look like 1 minute breathing exercise. You could just take a couple of deep breaths and breathe in and breathe out. This could look like a journaling practice. This could also look like a gratitude practice where at the end of the day, you may make a list about what you feel grateful for and what you are proud of yourself that day. And on the other end of the spectrum is movement. It's really helpful to move our body on a regular basis for our mental wellness. And this could look like a form of gentle movement, yoga, stretches. A lot of us, because of the studying we're doing, tend to sit a lot in front of computers and looking at screens. And it's really important to find a way to build in some movement, especially we have a beautiful campus that you could walk around. Nutrition is another part that is very important that could be easily neglected when we are busy. And this also, we're not only talking about nutrition in terms of food to our body, but which is important. And it could be challenging for international students as you're being in a new environment and you find foods and cooking that could work for you, that feel familiar and tasty. But the other part of that, the nutrient we're talking about, is also what are we feeding our mind. It's important to pay attention to the media and social medias and things you're reading and listening. Are they supportive of your mental wellness? Do they create a sense of safety and belonging and support, or are they feeding into the part of us that a fear base or cultivate the uncertainty that we may already be experiencing? So pay attention to the media that you're consuming and see if there's a way that you could adjust that. The last piece we would like to emphasize is connection, which we continue to emphasize throughout our presentations. As psychologists, we just know that we are social beings, and cultivating connections and relationships that could allow ourselves to be authentically real and accepted are really keys for both our growth and in buffering stressors when we're going through challenges. So take stock and who's in your corner, who's in your village, and cultivate those connections through and prioritize them, because it will be a really strong asset in your journey.
I'm going to continue to build on this foundation of connection and talk to talk to you about this really exciting program. So Coffee Talk is a joint collaboration between CAPS and Office of International Student and Scholar Services, OISS. And this has been a program that's been so popular and like really well liked by a lot of our international students over the years. And we're really, really happy to be able to bring it back this year. So starting in October 2021, every other week, Friday afternoon, we'll be hosting our coffee talk virtually. Okay, and this coffee talk, really think about this, thinking back to the previous conversations we've had about some common struggles international students might experience. Coffee Talk is a safe space to explore those experiences. Different week, we'll be hosting the conversation with a specific theme. We have covered and we'll plan to cover topics like, US classroom cultures, cross-cultural friendship and dating, job search process for international students. So really think back to a lot of these different things that might be on your mind as you're thinking about embarking this international student journey. We will be talking about them in these coffee talk spaces. So please stay tuned to OISS newsletters, as well as, CAPS social media. And so you know how to save the dates, sign up for these conversations. And these are open to both students from Chicago and Evanston campuses.
I also just want to emphasize the coffee talk this is our 5th year of this program actually, and it's a really great way for students to meet other international students. It's a space that open for both new and returning international students. So this would be a great space to ask any question you may have in a casual manner, both maybe with your seniors and also with us, Andrew and I, both psychologists. If you have any questions, you come and ask us. And also a really good opportunity to break that isolation and connect with others over shared challenges. So really welcome you and check us out.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you.
So now I would like to talk about CAPS services. You're gonna hear about CAPS a lot in your time in Northwestern, and that stands for Counseling and Psychological Services. Our office have 2 primary functions. One is to help you assess your mental health needs when you're wondering what are some of the resources and services that would be helpful for you. We could help you to figure that out. And the second piece is to assist you in connecting with those resources and support that may be a best fit for you. We see over 3,000 students over the past years, and that's for all Northwestern students. And we have a utilization rates around 16 to 20%, meaning like 1 in 4 students will come to see us every year. So I just want to emphasize it's a really well-utilized resources, and we encourage you to kind of be familiar with our resources. We offer free and confidential services, which means that all the information you share with us during your appointment with us will be kept confidential. It's not part of your academic record or your immigration record. As you know, that there's some legal and ethical limitations that your counselor will discuss with you before you start the meeting. We offer consultations, like I mentioned, consultation to assess your mental health needs, or if you're trying to support someone that you care about, and you would like some advice, we could be helpful around that as well. We also offer tailored referrals and connections with community resources. If you're in a crisis, meaning that you or someone need immediate support, we also have a daytime crisis appointments, or we also have after hours crisis hotline where you could talk to one of our on-call counselors. We also offer free educational workshops and programming, and the coffee talk that we mentioned before is one of that. We also have support circles for other identities. We have stress management workshops, and we have many building emotional wellness workshops. So we encourage you to check that out and find out what may meet your needs. In addition, we also offer short-term individual therapy, group therapy, and we also offer psychiatric evaluation and medication management. This may sound, different medical terms, and it may sound overwhelming, but if you're interested in exploring services, all you should do is go to our website and find out how to access and schedule initial appointments, and our counselor will help you navigate what resources and services will be best fitted for you. Just also want to emphasize that we offer multilingual services. Currently, our therapist staff could offer therapy and support in German, in Hindi, and Urdu, Mandarin, Cantonese, Polish, and Spanish.
Thank you for the overview of all these services we offer. And we mentioned earlier about one of the resources we provide is to help students connecting with community referral. So sometimes after an initial conversation with the CAPS provider, the student may be offered the option to be connecting with an off-campus mental health provider. And as an international student, you will have the Northwestern student health insurance plan, and it offers excellent coverage to access off-campus services. But we want to talk to you about why these referrals might happen. Sometimes it might be because you're looking for specific services. Well, everyone here at CAPS, we are general providers, and we can work with the majority of our students presenting concerns. Sometimes you might be looking for a specific specialty, and that's when we might connect you to someone who holds that expertise. Like Chen-Hui mentioned earlier, while we have quite a diverse staff and we offer multilingual services, we might not be able to accommodate all of your requests. And if that's the case, we'll also do our best to connect you with someone in the community that might hold specific social identities, as well as provide specific language services. Other things to consider when we are considering a referral might be if a student is needing more flexible scheduling outside of 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, especially for some of our really busy students, they might need some weekend appointments. So community provider can more easily accommodate that. And lastly, we also believe that the development of a therapy relationship is just like any relationship. It takes time to build. So having more of an open-ended or longer-term option in the community can be a great fit for students to really slow down that process. Lastly, just a quick note, when it gets into a certain time frame in the academic year, in a quarter, things can get really busy, and that's the truth for CAPS as well. So on Evanston campus, there can be a wait time for students to be able to be matched with a therapist. So if that's the case, some students might want to be connected more timely with a provider in a community, and that might be another reason why we might send you referrals. But we want to also remind you that this will be a process that's very collaborative, and a CAPS provider will be there along the way to help check in and make sure that you're getting what you need. And another sort of plug to put in is, yes, make sure you don't wait till when things are really, really busy. Reach out early, make sure you have support built so that you don't find yourself needing to speak with someone, but not having immediate availability for that.
Here, we also just want to emphasize again, sometimes it may be a wait time before you could access care to CAPS. Under this following situations, crisis appointments and reaching out to us immediately may be warranted. For example, if you have recently gone to 2 or more days without any sleep and do not feel tired, someone you know may be in a life-threatening situation, you yourself may struggling with ongoing thoughts of ending your life and not be able to keep yourself safe. Or if you're having thoughts of hurting someone else and may act on them. Some of these are reasons to reach out to us immediately. We do have on-call staff that will be able to see you for a crisis appointment during business days and business hour. You could call CAPS and ask at that number and ask to speak with the on-call counselor. If it's after hours, you could still call the same number and press 0. And you will be connected to a clinician.
Yeah, that's really important to remember that these services are available no matter what time it is in an academic year. So sometimes, student might not have experience with counseling service or counseling services in the US, and you might not sure if you need professional help, and that's okay. We have several resources available, both on our website. One is this section of mental health screening. These are, self-administered like questionnaire that can help you figure out more of where you are in terms of your experience and whether talking to your professional help may be warranted. Another piece of really helpful resource is called Breathe. And it is a collection of guided mental health resources, particularly on mindfulness, meditation practices, sleep, relaxation, and other stress management tips. And these are available free on our website. Sometimes you might be wondering if there's something that's worth talking to a provider, a counselor about, and you're not sure. And That's Talk can be a really great option. We are offering these informal drop-in consultation hours with various different clinicians. And these can be things that you schedule on our website, and then you get to talk to someone. And maybe that's the one-time conversation that you need. Maybe coming from that meeting, you might be pointed to other resources on campus or off campus. So just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that service. But also just remember that Let's Talk is not for a crisis situation. Thinking back to what Chen Hui was just walking us through earlier. And any topic is welcome in the Let's Talk consultations.
For the next 2 slides, we have a list of other campus resources that support your emotional wellness outside of CAPS. We invite you to actually take a look at this list, familiarize yourself with the names, and maybe do your own research on your own time and find out exactly what services that they provide. A lot of them provide different services for different concerns or different needs and for also different identities. So I encourage you to check them out and find out what they do so that when you're in need, you know where to go to. Angel, do you want to go to the next slide?
Yep. And even though a lot of these services might be physically housed on Evanston campus, they have very active programming that are accessible online through social media, and that's accessible for folks on both campuses as well.
Again, we encourage you to just jot down their names and their acronyms and do some research after this to find out exactly what they do.
Well, thank you all for your attention. And once again, Tim and I are so excited you're here, and we really want to extend a warm welcome to you all to the Northwestern community. We hope that this video will be an invitation for you to center your wellness as you begin your time here at Northwestern. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. You can find our contact information on this slide, or you can visit CAP's website, both for the Chicago and Evanston campus. As you can see, we are on Instagram and Facebook, so feel free to give us a follow so that you're not missing any of the exciting workshops or programs that we're putting out there. Take care.
We wish you a successful and a well journey. Take care.